Welcome. You're watching Free Press Journal. I'm Afrida Rahman Ali. The ongoing blockade and the conflict in Gaza have led to a severe humanitarian crisis with nearly 5 lakh people facing starvation, and literally the entire population is now apparently at the critical risk of facing a famine. The impact on children and on families there in Gaza is momentous, and the crisis has affected children, with reports now indicating that around 1,300 children have died or have been injured in this escalation of conflict. Joining me today on the program is Dr. Wael Awwad, senior journalist from West Asia Studies. Dr. Awwad is a very respected journalist, veteran foreign journalist with over 4 decades of experience covering South Asia and West Asia. He has served as the South Asia bureau chief for Al Arabia TV and NBC, and has reported from various conflict zones: Afghanistan, Iraq, Sri Lanka, as well as Kashmir. Welcome, Dr. Awwad. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
In fact, I would like to begin by asking you this question, which is staring us on our faces literally at the moment. That is starvation practically being used as a weapon of war now. Is Israel deliberately starving Palestinians in Gaza to death?
Well, thank you for having me again. I will just say that before I start talking about the starvation, which is the new weapon is being used by the Israelis against the Palestinians, I must also condemn the killing of the journalists have taken place inside Palestine,
Yes.
inside Gaza, where they have been massacring in live on the TV show, showing that the intentional and deliberate killing of journalists. And I
Yeah.
think this is a shame on the journalists feel that they were unable to condemn or even getting permission to let us enter into Gaza Strip to report the atrocities committed against the Palestinians. Having said that, I will say that now with the figures of the 2 years ongoing war on the Palestinians by the Israelis, we have more than 62,800 people have been killed, mostly children and elderly, followed by 150,000 injured also. So you can see the figure of 85% of the total Gaza has been destroyed, and the total infrastructure has been totally destroyed, obliterated, and there is no live food for any of the Palestinians. So not only those who are not being killed by the continuous bombardment, of which daily we have less than 100 every day, a killing of a Palestinian inside, I think the remaining are dying because of the starvation, which is a new weapon, as I said, has been used by the United States and the Israelis to make sure that no Palestinian will be able to leave or survive the onslaught of 2.2 million in a concentration camp called Gaza Strip.
Yeah, what is happening, Dr. Awwad, and this is the question I'm putting out for our viewers as well. If there is starvation, if there is this sort of a humanitarian crisis, malnutrition, preventable deaths, do you believe the global community has faced in its responsibility to protect civilians in Gaza? You have the UN reporting figures, you have NGOs reporting widespread hunger, even as Israel continues to insist that aid continues to reach Gaza. These reports are contradicted by UN reports, and journalists who want to report the facts are being eliminated. What is the responsibility you feel that as a global community one can exercise at this point?
I think it is a stigma will remain for the centuries to come on the international community for failing to save the Palestinian life inside Gaza. I think the cameras, the pictures we are watching, not even the hypocrisy of it, that even those who are killing the Palestinians are proudly showing on their own cameras the killing, and nobody stopping them. So I think it's a shame that we have to be blame ourselves for not being able to stop. And if there is no movement of the international community to end this onslaught on the Palestinian, I think it's going to be repeated not only inside Palestine, but in Syria, in Lebanon, in Iraq, in Iran, and in the rest of the country. Because now Prime Minister Netanyahu is saying it openly, that he wanted to have greater Israel from Euphrates to Nile, which means it is in the Sinai Peninsula, it's Syria, it's Lebanon, it's Jordan, 1/3 of Saudi Arabia, and Iraq. And this is all a populated area. It's not a land without people. So if you are repeating what you're doing inside Palestine, you can repeat it in this area because you have an objective to achieve. Having said that, I will also add here one more point, which is very important to our viewers and your viewers to see that now they are openly saying it without any shame that they were going to attack, because for the last 76 years, they have been deceiving the world that they are the victim of the Arab world and they wanted to kill the Israelis and the Jew. But at the end of the day, if we look at the Palestinian map, we notice that there is nothing left of Palestine. What's happening in Gaza Strip is also being repeated in the West Bank. We have more than 12,000 Palestinians have been detained by the Israelis. We have more than 1,500 have been killed, which is mostly children and elderly as well. And their lands has been confiscated. Illegal settlement has been built. And not more than that, even Israeli settlers are encroaching into Syrian territories and they're building camps. First, they start with the tent, then it will be an illegal camps and illegal settlement. So what's going on in the region? Why no one is able to stop this madness of one?
But in Israel, Dr. Wael, in Israel, there are massive protests now. In fact, families of Israeli captives are intensifying protests in Tel Aviv. There have been nationwide protests to end the war. So there is a pushback. But why is it that Mr. Netanyahu is able to go ahead on his own agenda? Mr. Donald Trump, and I will play out the soundbite as well, has said that this cannot go on. There is a sort of a warning from the US as well that thus far no further. Yet you have Mr. Netanyahu able to go ahead with this with impunity.
That's absolutely right. Because so many reasons. I think the only people who can stop Mr. Netanyahu from this ongoing war is the people of Israel, who are now openly going into the street and demanding that this man has to end this war because he's refusing. As long as he continues the war, he will remain in power. Everybody knows, even the Israeli media has been reporting such kind of a story that he is surviving because of the continuity of the war. And not only that, he's taking this war into Lebanon, into Syria, and he will take it again into Iran. So therefore,
there is a military raid in the West Bank city of Ramallah. Sorry to interrupt you, since you mentioned, let me tell you, this news just came in a few minutes ago about Israeli military raid in West Bank city of Ramallah, which is escalating.
This morning, 8 workers has been killed. We are witnessing all this onslaught, non-stop of attack on the Palestinian with the Israeli government. So we know, we are fully aware of the development. Every moment we are getting an update of the development in West Bank, in Gaza Strip, on Lebanon also, in Syria as well. So we know, we are fully aware what Israel is doing. But what Israel wanted the world not to report is what they are doing actually on the ground, only talking of Hamas, and remain blind eyes regarding what the atrocities being committed.
Yeah, I want to play out these pictures, and you mentioned, and this of course affects my journalist community, my fraternity. Sorry about that. I'm just going to play out these pictures of journalists who were laid to rest earlier.
I'm sorry, you have some problem with your audio. Check your audio. There is some problem with the audio. I can't hear you.
Okay, you're not able to hear me even now? Am I audible to you? Am I audible to you?
There's a crack in your voice, so I am unable to hear you.
There's a crack in my voice? Okay.
Your voice is breaking.
Can you check? Is this better, or is it still the same? Now you can't hear me at all. Okay.
Please check your audio. There's a problem with your networking.
Is this better?
Yeah, it's better now.
Better now? Okay, fine. Okay, so I was saying I'm playing out these images of the devastation, a bit of the devastation, but also the funeral of the journalists. Several news organizations have mourned the slain contributors. These are pictures that have come in from the last riots being observed of the journalists who were killed. 3 journalists were laid to rest. Emotional farewell, and these are heartbreaking pictures indeed. You still have that press written on them, and as a journalist myself, it shakes me to the core to see this. And the fact that there is a sort of a silence, there's a tacit silence, and that amounts to cruelty as well. Because what I feel is that if the rest of us become voiceless at this point, this will just continue. Reuters, Associated Press, Al Jazeera, there are journalists who have quit their organizations because they feel justice is not being done to the stories of the Gazans who are suffering, the children who are being mercilessly killed, some of them being starved to death. So we are, of course, being bombarded with these pictures practically every day. I want to play out two sound bites and then come to you for concluding comments. One is from the IDF. Now, IDF insists that, the Hamas operates from hospitals as well.
I
The
would
Hamas
like to be clear
operates,
from the
um,
start.
uh,
The IDF
let's
does
listen to
not
what the IDF is saying.
intentionally target Nasser Hospital in Khan Yunis. We are aware of reports that harm was caused to civilians, including journalists. I would like to be clear from the start. The IDF does not intentionally target civilians. The IDF makes every effort to mitigate harm to civilians while ensuring the safety of our troops. Any incident that raises concern in this regard is addressed by the relevant mechanisms in the IDF. We are operating in an extremely complex reality. Hamas terrorists deliberately use civilian infrastructure, including hospitals, as shields. They have even operated from the Nasser hospital itself. Hamas began this war, created impossible fighting conditions, and is preventing its end by still holding 50 of our hostages. Having said that, as a professional military committed to international law, we are obligated to investigate our operations thoroughly and professionally.
Okay, so let's also listen to Mr. Donald Trump, who
Bombed
spoke
a
earlier
hospital in Gaza, killed
about
20 people,
the
including
current
5
situation.
journalists.
When did this happen?
This happened overnight, today.
I didn't know that. No.
Any reaction to this? Are you
Well,
going
I'm
to
not
talk
happy
to
about it. I don't want to see it. At the same time, we have to end that whole nightmare. I'm the one that got the hostages out. I got them out, all of them. Steve Witkoff has been amazing. He's done a great job. But I'm the one that got them all out through my people and through me. And now we're left with probably a little bit less than 20 because I think 1 or 2 are gone.
So basically, Mr. Trump believes, I mean, his focus is to release the hostages and say, I'm the one to have got them out. He does not seem to share any concern about the starvation or about the journalist deaths, even though the question, Dr. Awwad, was with regards to the 5 journalists killed. And he seems to be deflecting the entire issue to the hostages. But he seems unaware about civilian deaths and journalist deaths. Is there a way to avoid or evade the question?
Well, I think a United States government and the Israeli government are the master of deceiving public opinion and then lying. They keep on lying and lying and lying till they believe they're telling the truth. That is what the Ben Gurion have said it long years ago. Keep on lying, keep on lying. They are fully aware of the attack. Israelis is a military apparatus. Israel is having the occupational forces, not the defense forces. This is Israeli occupational forces attacking daily. They have the surveillance. They can see any movement on the ground. They understand it very well. They said it is first they are using hospital, they destroy hospital. They say it's under the hospital. There is tunnels and all. There was nothing on that sort. They destroyed school. They destroyed playground. They destroy even camps created for the food that the people are going with an empty place to go and collect little of the chawal, little of the dal to go and eat and make a cook. And then still we believe that the Israeli are telling the truth. I'm surprised that the world still listen to such kind of a new Nazi on this world. They have been attacking and they are showing to the world that they are a victim of us when the whole world knows that they are the aggressors. And I think Netanyahu's survival on the issues of Palestine, depending on his right-wing partners as well, who are also giving him the fuel to continue in power as long as they confiscate the land of Palestine. And tomorrow they will destroy the Al-Aqsa Mosque and build what is called the Solomon structures or temple there. It's because of the based on a fake and fraud mythology that this is belong to Israelis and this is the only for the Jew people, where with the rest, the whole world knows that God cannot be discriminated and we all belong to the same God and they cannot be only the chosen people. I think the world has to waken up to the destruction of Palestine going on. The world has to wake up to the atrocity committed against a human being. And I think the picture cannot lie. The whole world, the whole people on the world are awakening and demonstrating in the street of their capital against their own government, because they are supporting a regime that already based on a colonized attitudes that they wanted to destroy the people. All this has to be taken in consideration if we wanted to see a solution. There is no solution to the crisis if you do not give the Palestinians their right of existence in their own homeland as an aboriginal of Palestine. If there is no question
But why
of
is it,
two-state
Dr.
solution,
Awwad? My last question to you, why is it that multinational bodies like the United Nations have become so toothless that today, if the United States have not taken a strong position in this humanitarian crisis, nothing moves, because no other body of nations is able to, influence Mr. Trump or Mr. Netanyahu at this point of time? Isn't that also a very sad precedent, a very sad indictment of how the entire global community, in a way, has become, in a way, would be held responsible for this, for failing to protect civilians in Gaza? But my question to you is that what do you make of the fact that these global bodies that were formed at this point of time, when they are most required to be active, have suddenly have shown that they are completely toothless, they are completely powerless? And if that is the case, then this can happen anywhere, anytime, and there would be no one, no global community, so to speak, in one voice.
absolutely, absolutely right. I think the Palestinian cause is elder than even the United Nations. If you know that the United Nations came to existence the next year, there was a division of Palestine where 55% of the actual territory of Palestine was given to minority Jew and 45 to the majority Palestinians. So therefore, ever since then, there was no solution, and thanks to the Americans, because America have been vetoing all the UN Security Council resolution against Israel, and Israel never been put under the Article 7 of the UN, like they have done in Yugoslavia or they have done against Iraq. Saddam Hussein is only because Israel and the American lobby they refuse to allow anybody punishing Israel. It is the cuddle boy of the United States, and the only Israel can be the exceptional and unilaterally can do anything that the American will. And they know that the American will support them. Even the West will support them. I think there has to be restructuring of the UN, restructuring of the New World Order. We are not living anymore in a unipolar world. And the voices of the South should be heard on the North. And also we should be able to address and call a spade as a spade. And call for an end to this war. A two-state coexistence between the Israelis and the Palestinians can be and still valid to happen if the American change their mindset. But I am not optimistic. I'm very pessimistic as long as
Because even
this
after the
American
change of
administration.
regime, yeah, from the Democrats to the Republicans, nothing has changed. So I would say clearly, as
I
you
couldn't
said,
hear your question.
I was saying even after the change from the Democrats to Republicans, nothing changes. So, as
No,
many change of regime in US, it's not as if there's going to be a fair play when it comes to the Israel-Palestine issue.
it's
How will this
irrespective
end?
who it's irrespective who is in power. It's one. There are other powers in the United States, whether Democratic or the Republican, make no difference. Everybody have to sworn and take a vote that they will protect Israel hegemony, dominance in politically, economically, and militarily in the Middle East at the cost of their neighbors. That is the strategy for any American president to come. But I think when the world starts listening to the multipolar world and the South voices are being heard, I think it is the time when the world will erupt against the atrocities of Israelis and Americans.
Let's hope that day comes soon. Thank you so much, Dr. Wael Awwad, for joining us. Really pleasure talking to you today. Thanks for your time. And I take your point about how the global community has a important responsibility here. And we cannot look the other way for long. There will be consequences for everyone in this. Thanks very much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.